welcome to the National Show here at Highlands Estate and Park. I know why you're sitting. I'm very excited and honoured to be able to introduce one of our nation's favourite. You've seen her in the Great British Bake Off, and you're able to see her now here at Highlands. Please give an enormous Highlands welcome. I want us to be heard all the way into Chelmsford Town Centre. Ladies and gentlemen, Mary Berry.
Thank you, Meg. Are you enjoying your day? Jolly nice to sit down, isn't it? Sorry about you lot on the outside. Never mind, when it comes to questions and answers, perhaps you'll get the questions first. I'm delighted to be here. I went to Blenheim last year and I had a whale of a time. So when I was asked to come here, I was delighted because I knew I could go home with some plants. I hope you do. Because it's lovely to have space. I know it's Chelsea next week, but you know, you can't buy plants, and when I see something I want it, and I'm sure as you've been going around, such a wonderful selection, everything you could possibly want, and you could just a short walk to the car. So, and there's lots of things you can do, lots of presents to buy, and you know, when you meet the people on the stands, they're the experts, so you can get your questions answered.
Mary, let's have a seat ourselves, shall we? Welcome to...
I like a cushion.
I'm sorry there's no cushion, I failed
If you
again.
notice when I'm on the Bake Off, I have a cushion, and Hollywood doesn't bother about a cushion, he's well padded, and I have always a cushion.
There's also something else you have on Bake Off, isn't it? There's a top secret that you can share with us.
Oh yes, I'm very, very cold, and I have a hot water bottle, and it keeps getting changed, and it's underneath my jacket, and I move it from side to side to keep me warm, because the tent is open and it blows like it's like the north wind.
So a hot water bottle's the answer.
Absolutely.
So Mary, you've where did all the TV exposure and work start?
I was doing what I wanted to do from the very beginning. I was not very good at the academic subjects at school, and so I did what then was called domestic science, and then I followed it through, and I got the qualifications that I needed, and that was a teaching qualification, because when I'm on television I think I'm teaching you. You know, I'm showing you how to do something in a way that you think, oh, I think I could do that. So I had a teaching qualification, a catering one, and I went to Paris to do a cordon bleu. So, I mean, I couldn't quite appear on the creme de la creme because I'm just an ordinary family cook. But I hope that I can show you how to do things and get success most of the time. And if you don't get success, what to do with it to make it look as though you've got a success.
And that's the thing, that we've seen many successes, and the way you present your programs, of course, is absolutely brilliant and inspiring. What's been your biggest disaster on TV cooking?
On TV cooking, I think when I've been lifting something and it's all fallen apart. I mean, meringues, for example, you make a meringue and then you take it out of the oven, you might drop it, you might move it and it breaks all in little pieces. Well, it turns into eaten mess, doesn't it? And it's amazing what you can do with a bit of crunched up meringue, lots of glorious whipped cream, fresh strawberries or raspberries. It makes a nice pretty glass dish to put it in, and a few fresh strawberries on top. They think you're wonderful, and it's a disaster. And you know, when you make that cake and it goes down in the middle, well, you can cut a circle out of it and fill it with strawberries and cream, and nobody knows anymore. You've just got to tackle it and hold back the tears and get on.
I've got to ask, personally for you, sweet or savoury?
I'm afraid I like savoury. Definitely, I love cakes. I love making cakes and biscuits and all the rest of it. But if I would like something savoury, yes.
And life ambitions, career, obviously you're at the, I would imagine, the peak of your career.
I haven't got much left, have I?
Oh no, I think you've got a lot more in you yet, I'm sure of it.
My mother was 105 and she was still playing bridge at 104. And she was still bossing me about, so you might have me for a bit yet.
Excellent. But is there anything on that list of things that you'd like to do? I mean, travel, write a book, another book, anything? I know you're writing a couple more books in the pipeline, but is there anything, visits? Is there a country you'd like to visit?
No, there isn't really, because I'm married to my Paul, and he has travelled a lot before I married him, and we're a pair. You know, I do what he wants to do.
Do you mean to say you do as you're told?
If I agree. No, actually, he's very good. We'll be married 50 years this year, so we're going off. Well, I mean,
Congratulations.
You're going to ask me what I put it down to. I can give you a long list of things. My husband puts it down to one word, 2 words, and it's yes, dear. And I think it's. I don't think we never have a quarrel because it upsets me so much to get over it. So it's just as well. I think the garden is the great place. You know, when you just about to have a flaming row, just open the back door, walk out, and you can forget everything and come back. And it wasn't very important anyway, was it? So there we are.
So we've learned the key. Next week, as you mentioned, is RHS Chelsea Flower Show. I believe there's an extra special plant happening next week.
I'm very excited about Chelsea because my rose, the Mary Berry Rose, is being launched. And I've been asked by various growers over the years, and when I've looked at the ones they've suggested, I haven't liked them. I was very adamant to what my rose was going to be, and most of our roses have been brought from Harkness, who are not so far from here. They're all English grown, and my favourite rose is a rose called Chandos Beauty, which is a sort of pinky white and has wonderful growth, scent, everything you'd want about a rose, and we've got a lot of them at home. And so when Philip Harkness, we discussed it, I said, well, I want you to breed from Chandos Beauty. And so the father of my rose is Chandos Beauty. It's pale lemon, and it has very bright green foliage, wonderful growth, lovely smell. I can pick it and put it in water and it'll last. What more do we want from a rose? I think it's lovely, and I'm very excited about it.
And did it take a long time to breed, I suppose you would say?
Yes, it did, and we went out to the fields, and it was really very comforting, because you see all the rows of roses, and then I could see one very green rose. It was before it had flowered, just small plants, and it looked the healthiest and the strongest of all the roses. So I thought, oh, I'm glad that's mine.
Well, we look forward to seeing that next week at RHS Chelsea. I know you've taken time out of your busy schedule because you're filming Bake Off. And I know you're not going to be able to tell us what's happening on Bake Off, but where are you within the series?
We're about halfway through. We've got an amazing, wonderful team of bakers. Each year I think, are they going to be as good? And they're very good at finding them. It's, funnily enough, the number of applications has gone slightly down this year, because I think people think, oh, I don't know that I could do it. But we've got very good ones, and it's a long process from the day you look on the internet or apply for taking part, because we are very, very thorough in choosing the bakers, that you're having all different people from all different faiths and different parts of England and so on, as though it was fixed. And look who won. Wonderful Nadia. And she is so modest. And when she won her prize of winning the Bake Off, I said to her, now Nadia, what are you going to do tomorrow? And I thought, I'll go and have a massage or lie down. But, she said, I'll be baking, which I thought was amazing. So this year we've got a really good bunch and we're plodding on. Not too difficult, the bake-offs. You'll be having a go at some of them at home.
And we look forward to that on our screens sometime in August, is that right?
I think it will be. It usually is, isn't it? Just before people come back from the summer holidays.
Excellent. And the other programme that you made around Easter was, I thought, very, very fascinating, with all the various faiths and how they celebrated Easter. I was particularly interested, does the Archbishop of York actually cook in his own kitchen? That's what I wanted to know.
I went to York to meet the Archbishop of York, and I had met him on Chris Evans's programme, and he had told me then that in 1969, I think it was, he had bought my cookery book and had been cooking from it ever since. Well, when somebody says that, you don't really think, is it true? And there it was, all tattered on his shelf. And yes, he did cook. Absolutely, he cooked an Easter meal for me. I was in the kitchen, but I was very much the underling, the sous chef, doing what I was doing. He was checking that I was doing it right. His wife was standing by, not helping. He did everything. And he made a beautiful, he called it his Easter feast, and he is very, very skilled at cooking.
And the Archbishop of Canterbury not so much, I hear.
I think he relies on his wife more, and I don't think he enjoys food. That's what it's all about. And it was lovely to talk to him of what Easter meant to him, and also to meet him, because he was such a warm, wonderful man. And all his children were there. He had 5 children, and most of them were there to see what I was up to.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Rose next week at RHS Chelsea. I could ask 100 questions. I've had such an enjoyable day. She is so fascinating. I'm picking up all the cookery tips, and a lot of gardening tips as well, for that matter. So it's a real pleasure to spend some time with you today, Mary. I throw the mic out to you now, not literally, but I'm sure you too have some burning questions that you need to ask Mary. So do put your hand up and I'll try and... There's a man there already. Hang on.
Hello, I was just thinking about the second man in your life, more recently with Paul. I'm sure Paul Hollywood doesn't, if things get a bit tough, he doesn't just say, yes, Mary, or yes, dear.
You're absolutely right.
Could you share with us just a little vignette on maybe one of the more tense moments you've had? That would be interesting.
Paul and I are judges, and what I want you to know is we are totally fair. That's what it's all about. And nobody makes, the BBC doesn't say it would be nice to have somebody from Scotland in the final or whatever. Nobody persuades us to do anything. Our aim, at least my aim particularly, is to get you baking at home, to get the children, the grandchildren, all baking through Bake Off. We have had tense moments with Paul. It's usually when we can't quite decide which is to go and which is to stay, and I stand up on my things, and on the whole, if it's a bread day, Paul says, and I agree with him, on a bread, and if it's a cake day, he'll say, well, you're the cake lady. If you think so, it must be right. We do get on really well. We have fun, and Mel and Sue are the brightest. They're really clever girls. They both were at Cambridge together, I don't think they even got first class degrees because they were on footlights and enjoying the theatre, and they became friends then. And they say they've been friends for 30 years. They are so amusing, and they're a real comfort to all the people on Bake Off. You know, when they're about to cry, when they take something out of the oven, Paul and I can't say to them what they've done wrong, what they should do, but Mel and Sue can put their arm around them and say, if I were you, and oh, it happens to me at home, all you do, you know, we don't want dramas on Bake Off. We don't want shouting, we don't want swearing, we want you to be able to understand baking, and but we do have fun. And when we're not actually judging, there is time, we play cards, and we're all competitive. We play whist, all sorts of things, and certain people cheat.
I hope that's not you, Mary.
Telling you. What was my favourite bake? I think it was a key lime pie, as far as I remember. Yes, it was very good, but I enjoy all the bakes. I mean, occasionally they make mistakes and put salt in it. We've had that, but on the whole, they're pretty good on their flavours. They should be. They're chosen from a large number.
Another question?
Come on, and at the back. Come on, you should think of some questions. Sorry? Do I still live in Bath? No, I was born and bred and nearly stayed in Bath. My family is still there, but my husband and I live near Amersham, some place called Penn, and we've been there 40 years and unlikely to move. When I left the Domestic Science College, I took a teaching qualification, and I was a teacher in an evening class at Bath Technical College, and I had 17 people at the beginning of the year, and I had 17 people at the end, and they were brilliant.
Neil Irwin's mum, if that means anything to you.
Right?
A hairy one.
I know.
On Bake Off, yes. Anyway, it's a question about fashion. You wear the most wonderful... You wear the most wonderful creative jackets and smart clothing. Do you have your own range?
No, how very kind of you to. No, I don't have my own range. My aim, when I was asked to do Bake Off, and I didn't know who Mel and Sue were, they arrived in jeans. So I thought, well, that's the bottom half organised. I never wear jeans at home except when I'm gardening or doing things like that. And then I thought, well, I'm going to wear interesting jackets that cover up everything. I put a hot water bottle underneath, and so each programme I have a new jacket, and sometimes I nip into Zara myself, sometimes I nip into Marks, sometimes somebody finds it and I wear it. I just think that none of you are as old as me, but I'm old and I don't want to look dowdy, and so I have these coloured jackets, and it gives me confidence to stand up there with Mel and Sue are so very bright. So wear cheerful clothes, and the main thing is comfortable. Everything I wear, from my shoes to my, everybody else wears jeans that fit their legs, they can hardly walk or bend over. I wear ones that are really comfy and there's lots of room in them.
Well, looking gorgeous to say, I must say, Mary, today. I'm going to ask you another question. We hear that celebrities get sent various things through the post, all sorts of things. Have you had anything peculiar sent to you via the post?
I could write a book on it.
Another one?
One of the early things I was sent when I was with Judy Chalmers on a Good Afternoon, I was lifting a Christmas pudding. When you cook a Christmas pudding, I haven't got a steamer, or hadn't then, and I used to put it in boiling water up to halfway, and I used to get a long strip of foil, folding it over, put it underneath the bowl to hang over the side of the pan. Okay, got me? A lady crocheted me in string a little basket to put it in. My mother always, when she made a steak and kidney pie or an apple pie or chicken pie, she always had a handleless cup which she put in the middle so that it drew up the gravy and held it. And I always use that. And I've had enough blackbirds sent to me in the post because I don't want them. I want my cup. I'm used to it. And we get 1 or 2 handless cups in our kitchen. So really, not really so interesting things, but fun things.
This lady comes from Bath.
Oh no.
It's a long way to come.
Hi there. I had a bit of a problem with my meringue on Sunday. As you were talking about meringues.
It was eaten mess in the end.
It was eaten less in the end. I cooked it the night before, but it didn't rise very much, and it was even smaller when I went out to eat. What did
This
I do
lady's
wrong?
in trouble. I'm glad you're not on the Bake Off. Meringues. It didn't rise. Well, it won't rise very much. It's once you've piped it or spoon. I only spoon. I don't do this pipe. To make a good meringue, you take your egg whites. I'm not too fussed whether they're cold out of the fridge or room temperature. You put your egg whites in a bowl, a clean bowl, and you whisk them like mad, preferably with an electric mixer. And if it's a hand one, you need a big bowl, move it about, an electric mixer, and it wants to look like a cloud, just like that. Then you add the sugar little by little on full speed, and it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. It takes time. If you have a very expensive, good, freestanding mixer, it will take about 3 minutes. If you're doing it with a hand, it'll take 5 or 10. And then having got your meringue it should stand up in peaks. Then you put it on non-stick paper and you put it in the oven. Most people under-whip their meringues, and if it's a little bit runny before it goes in, it's going to come out a little bit flat and runny. Okay? I think you didn't beat yours enough.
Well, I thought I did.
There's a
but
lady here at the back.
Obviously not.
I don't think you did.
There's a lady here at the back who's asking how they select the contestants for Bake Off.
How do they select the contestants? People get the form off online, and then they apply. They have a questionnaire sent to them, and they then fill that in. They then are telephoned, and the researchers will talk to them, ask them questions off the cuff, and they soon find out whether they can bake or whether they can't. And then they are whittled down and whittled down. They come and bring bakes to London, usually 2 bakes, a loaf and something else, and then that's tasted. They then, a researcher visits their home, they do baking, because when you think about it, somebody could have a professional making the things arrive in London and say, I made it. Nobody does, but they could. So they go and see them bake in their own home. Then, if they whittle down even further, they come to London and bake in a kitchen, recipes that we give them. They weigh them out and make them. So it's very, very thorough, and it's very, very fair. We as judges, there's only 2, just Paul and me, and whatever you think of us, we are totally fair. And that's why people say to me at the beginning of the Bake Off, they come in and say, well, who do you think is going to win? I never think of who's going to win. I have no favourites. Our bakers, we don't see them other than in that tent. We don't stay in the same hotel, we don't have meals with them, because you do naturally get attached to people, and we're not attached, we're attached to them as a group, and the best one wins. But remember, we only judge on the day, we don't look back. And if you don't agree with us, just remember you haven't tasted it. I've got a lady here who's been
okay.
asking.
Thank you. You're a cooking idol of so many people, but who is your cooking idol and why?
Who is my cooking idol? I don't really have one. I am not hot on some of the foreign cooking, and so I go to the experts like Ken Hom for Chinese. If I wanted a straight fish things, I would go to Rick Stein, Majid Jaffrey, but those are the people that I admire. Elizabeth David, I loved reading all her. She's the best. She is a writer and also produced good food. Jane Grigson, who was a most wonderful historian, writer, and simple, uncomplicated cook. I've got lots of them.
And you over whip with meringues.
It's very, very unlikely that you will over whip a meringue. If you have a huge Kenwood or a huge freestanding KitchenAid, you can over whip in those machines, but a hand machine, very unlikely. It's much more likely that you under whip and you go on whipping until it stands up and holds its peak. So don't worry about over whipping on the whole. This lady here is going straight home to make them. I think you have to.
Having seen your garden many times on the television, how much help do you have?
I've been asked how much help we've got in the garden. We have 3.5 acres, and I'm a tidy gardener. I'm not one that likes it messy, and we do have help. We have 2 days a week, one chap, and Kevin is really one of my most favourite people. He loves our garden and he does exactly what I want in it. I have no control over my husband. He's always wanting to do things that I don't want to do in the garden, but I usually win with the backup of Kevin, our gardener.
You've had an illustrious career, you've done lots of things, and I'm sure you've had a lot of advantages. Is there anything you'd like to still do that you haven't done?
I'm very, very fortunate. I've had a wonderful career, and of course I'm very ancient, and so I'm very glad to be employed at my grand age. Mind you, I did see the Queen now was not going, when she goes upstairs, normally she doesn't hold the rail, and I promise you, every time I go upstairs anywhere, I go straight over because I think I'd make an awful mess if I fell over. There really isn't anything I want to do anymore. I love the Bake Off. I love my own programme, Foolproof, and I'm doing another one for next year. And there's a huge advantage of being ancient like me. I get spoilt rotten wherever I go. So I just encourage all of you who are getting older, for goodness sake, enjoy it and wear nice bright colours and keep warm. I have a hot water bottle all the time on Bake Off underneath my jacket, and this is the secret. And there are now about 10 hot water bottles. Mel and Sue are having them, and it was so cold at the beginning of the week that I put one on the back of Paul Hollywood, and he said, "That's nice."
So there, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard first, the secret is hot water bottles. One last question.
Hello. On your masterclass with Paul, you made a chocolate cake with a white chocolate ganache. Do you remember the 3-tiered one with the acetate around it? The white chocolate ganache, the chocolate cake shines through the ganache. How do I get a nice, clean, white finish?
We've got a clean cook here. Now, first of all, white chocolate ganache is difficult to make. white chocolate is the one chocolate that you must not overheat. If you get it too hot, and it really has got to be baby bath temperature, you just melt it enough so that it's runny, and it doesn't want to be hot. If you get it past that, that's what makes your ganache too runny. It is one of the most difficult ones to make, and I made quite sure, and I did say, don't get it hot, because if you do, it just runs off the cake. So better luck next time.
Third time lucky.
Third time lucky.
Good luck with your ganache. Not often you get to say that. Ladies and gentlemen, on your behalf, please thank our very, very special guest, Mary Berry.
Thank you so much. I've loved coming, and look at the sun out for you. I'm looking forward to getting home, unpacking the boot, and planting up tomorrow, because it is the perfect time to plant those pots, remember, because we hopefully won't get a frost. You must remember to cover them, but to get planting. And also I love pots because you can fill them, and if one dies, you quietly lift it out and put another one in, and it still looks good till the frosts come. So anyway, good gardening and happy cooking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, very much.
Henry, what do you sell here?
Bulb and blooming flowers from the Kokenhof Gardens in Holland.
So they're top quality?
Top quality. Everything here is top quality.
Have you just had a surprise visitor?
I have indeed.
Who is it?
Mary Berry.
Who is she?
She's a cook on television with Paul Hardcastle. Oh no, it's not Paul Hardcastle. What's his name?
Paul Hollywood.
Hollywood.
A better studio than Hardcastle's.
Yeah, good singer. I like his music.
What do you think about Mary?
She's a very nice person.
And what did she buy off you?
Some Cycleman and some Miriam Sonata.
Cycleman? I thought it was Sickleman.
Sickleman.
Ah, right. So how much did she spend?
£20.
On how many bulbs?
12.
Is that rather steep, or is it because they're good quality?
I just chucked an extra one in because I felt she needed the money.
Was it a complete surprise to you when she stopped it?
Yes, I didn't even know that was her. My mate told me.
Afterwards? So you didn't put on any airs and graces?
None whatsoever.
Will you be watching her programmes now?
I'll be watching this on YouTube, if you're going to put it on there.
We love Mary. She reminds me of England.